Thanks for joining me for another episode of Painting Along with me. And continuing on with our Game Workshop theme month, we are painting none other than Gimli from the Lord of the Rings board game by Games Workshop. It's called Quest to Mount Doom. Very exciting. We've already covered all of the 4 hobbits. If you haven't seen those videos, I strongly urge you to go back and check those out. And comment down below and let me know what you thought of my painting process, how I can improve it, how I can improve like my lighting, my audio, my video setup, my quality, and everything else. Because all of that helps me to get where I want to be with my painting and also with my videos too as well. But anyhow, we're going to paint none other than Gimli right now, so let's start off this painting. With Gimli, his primary color going by the back of the manual, user manual for the game, has showcased, like I said previously, my other videos, but his primary color is red, so we're going to start off with Evil Son Scarlet, and we are going to pretty much paint out all of his clothing. So his gloves are going to be red, his jacket's going to be red, his long part of his jacket's going to be red, and so on, and we're just going to move on from there. And away we go. So Evil Son Scarlet, painting all of this. It's kind of refreshing actually painting Gimli, because I know he's smaller in stature in the movies and the book. I mean, he's a dwarf, but when you painted the 4 hobbits in the last videos, you know, it's good to actually be able to paint something a little bit larger. And I'm not sure exactly what the scale is of these are, but maybe like 28 millimeter true scale instead of hero scale. Something towards them lines. I'm not 100% sure, but that would be my guess if I were to guess. And it's, you know, nothing too difficult going on right here. Pretty simple painting. I kind of changed the camera setup and the lighting a little bit for this one, so just let me know what you think about this one. This camera setup with the lighting setup. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts onto it all, because again, I'm still trying to find the happy medium for where I'm going to be painting, or how I'm going to be painting all this stuff. And I'm going to go from there. So right now what I'm doing is I'm not really being too careful with laying down the red, because I'm going to be putting other colors on top of it. And that way it just makes things a little bit more simplified for me, so it's easier to do some cleanup in the end than to try to be super careful the entire time and end up making mistakes regardless. And you know, I'm gonna have to be fixing it up anyhow, so I might as well just paint it like this. Let me know how you process your painting, what you end up doing. Do you just like do everything in the prime color or the main color for the base? You just throw it all on and then just, you know, do your corrections afterwards, or do you like very carefully go through everything? I would like to know what your thought process is, because I surely want to learn, and who better to learn from than just everybody who's been doing painting already. That is everybody watching. So thank you for that. I'm also, you know, I appreciate all of it, all the input, whether it is like great input or even if it's like negative input. The thing is regardless of the input, I'm still learning. And I think that's a very important thing, is, you know, you don't let things put you down and turn you off from what you want to do. Just keep doing it and learning from your mistakes, learning from other people who have been in your shoes before. Because the thing is everybody starts off somewhere, and I'm not even on camera. So everybody starts off somewhere, and not everybody is perfect. So it's good just to, you know, keep doing your best, forget the rest, and push ahead. that's pretty much, no matter what it is that you're doing, just keep pushing forward, and that is very important. Now, you can see here this red, it's not diluted. Again, like I said in my previous videos, I don't water down all of my paint. Some paint I do, some paint I don't. This red here, I am not watering any of it down. I'm just kind of continuing on just like it is, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to keep continuing painting his red, and I will be back when I finish doing that. One thing I forgot to mention is you can see his base is somewhat done. And what I mean by somewhat done is I did the PVA and the sand and the cork from the other steps that I've done in the past videos. It just to speed up a little bit of time so that when I'm finished painting, I paint this and I put the wash on. It's all going to come down that way. It's a little bit quicker. You keep learning as you go along, such as myself, and that's what I'm doing. And you know, you can see there too as well is his red is I'll paint it where I want to paint. So next thing is I'm going to paint his leather with Minotaur. And that's just a brown leather that I'm using for the Minotaur, and I'm painting the ankle straps of his boots, his gauntlets, onto his hand, and it probably is going to be painting like the in-between on top of his hat too as well, where the leather will be. So let's just start off with that actually. And because this Minotaur is specifically for airbrush, it is watered down already. It's got a nice watered down consistency. So I'm not going to have to worry too much about adding any water to this one, because it'll be way too watery. So again, like I said, I'm just going in and I am throwing on the brown leather color. Now he also has some straps you can see in the back here, and he also has like a blanket for sleeping on and some pouches and everything. I'm going to paint that all with the brown too as well, just except for his blanket. That's going to be a different color, but the straps are not. The straps are going to be leather straps, so I'm going to paint the leather straps on while I'm doing this. And meanwhile, I'm trying to keep in camera frame as best as possible. So this here too as well, I'm just going to paint all of this brown. Make things go by a little bit better. And like I said, I like to paint everything, use the one color for everything I have to paint right from the get-go, because then I don't have to keep switching back and forth at the colors, back and forth, because that can take some time. And right now I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on painting this. I'd prefer to get it done as quick as possible, but neatly as possible too as well, not make it look like it's a rush job of any kind, because I wouldn't like that either. So I'm just painting his straps onto him there. And all this stuff is going to be tidied up as we go along. You know, if I have to put a little bit more brown onto it, or some red or what have you, then I'll do it. But for the most part, I'm trying to be as careful as possible with applying the other colors on top of the colors that I already painted, because I don't want to repeat myself I want to stop repeating myself as much as possible is what I'm trying to say here, but I am seriously struggling with all of my words for some reason, like I usually do anyhow. So, oh well, that's just the way it is. And while we're here, I'm going to paint his gauntlets too as well with the brown. And that includes the part that goes over his hand for protection. So it adds just a little more protection so that if he gets hit with the sword or something, it'll just provide a little bit more protection to him. And all this time, I'm trying to keep it on camera, which is serving to be probably the most difficult thing of all. We're just going to keep trying here the best that we can. Still on camera, maybe a little soft out of focus there, but that's because I got my camera manual focus, so I get a very narrow plane of where I'm painting. And for his his axis, the wood onto it. I'm not going to be using this leather brown because it's not leather, it's wood. I'm going to be painting them with, I love painting this color. It's called XV88. It's like a woodish color. I do it for all my bolt action guns and everything towards them lines or any type of wood. I love the look of it on the miniature, and that's what color I'm going to do for that is the XV88. And that's from Citadel, if anybody is wondering. So continuing on here, I'm just going to be painting onto all of his brown, like so. Very carefully, obviously. And the other part of the brown that I'm painting now is going to be, I'm just looking here, that looks like part of metal onto the side of his face, possibly. I'll have to check the picture to find out what this part is because I'm not 100% sure. So I'm not going to paint that part yet. But what I am going to finish painting is the spats, I guess, or his, what protects him onto his ankles and everything. And that also is the leather brown from Minotaur. So I'm going to paint all of this. And now I'm just going to pause the video before I continue on with him because I want to find out what the sides of the, right here where his face is, I want to know what that is before I stop finishing with the brown and put it away when I discover, oh, it should be brown. All the red is painted and I looked on it and this part is actually part of his armor. It kind of protects the sides of his face and his neck. You can see I got all the brown painted. Now what I'm going to go on to now is the XV88 to paint all the wood parts. There's not a lot of wood, it's mostly just his axis. So I know this ain't really in focus, but Citadel's XV88, I like using that for the color of wood. So I'm just going to paint all of his handles of his axis in the XV88. Very carefully. And while trying to keep it on camera is even better. And his axes are obviously going to be, I was thinking instead of roofing steel, I may actually use like Leadbelcher. I really like the look of Leadbelcher because, you know, metal, it's older, it's been beat up, and Leadbelcher kind of got that tone to it that I really like. So I'm thinking that's what color I'm going to paint the blades with, is Leadbelcher, as well as the armor. He does have some hints of gold into his armor. He is a dwarf, so we're gonna have to put a little bit of like gold or bronze or what have you in that part, just so that, you know, kind of stick with his Lord of the Rings dwarf, and I don't know what I'm saying now, but you know what I mean. Like dwarfs, they love their gold, their mines, the mines of Moria, and so on, if you follow the movies or the books. So I'm just gonna finish painting this up, and after that we're probably going to jump over to the Leadbelcher. So I'll finish painting that up, very simple. Gonna continue on, and I'll be back after that, so then we'll throw on the Leadbelcher. Switching gears just a little bit, I said I was going to use Leadbelcher next, but I decided I'm going to paint the gold first. And again, like his shoulder armor is gold, the sides of his head, the plates are gold too as well. He's got a gold belt buckle. So we're going to do that first, and I'm going to use Balthazar gold. You can see right there. So just opening it up here, I had to do a little bit of a shake. Could have shook it off camera, but hey, we're doing this together as we go along, and that's just that. So let's paint his belt buckle first. So again, very gently do the belt buckle. When I say very gently, I mean a gentle touch, and to be very careful and mindful where you put your brush at. So that's that for his belt buckle. And so let's continue on. I'm going to paint his arm / shoulder protectors, I guess you want to call them. Just the armor. I'm leaving that gap because that gap has some chainmail into it, so we're going to paint the lead belcher for that part. Because he is wearing a chainmail underneath what he has, just to help protect with the attack on him with swords or arrows or what have you. Just so he has a little tiny bit more safety, because that's important to have, especially when you're fighting orcs. Orcai that are very dangerous. They're my favorite in Lord of the Rings is the Orcai. I do have to say. They just look very menacing and scary, and you know, it's really cool with the Orcai. They don't have any armor on their back. They're fully armored in the front but none in the back. And the reason for that being is because they never look back or retreat. They just go forward and they just go killing, and that's it. The Orcai is out for blood, and they won't stop until they get the blood. Woo, that's right. So you can see I painted on this part the gold. Now I got to paint the part of his face where he would have that protection too as well. Hopefully not getting it on the skin tone, because we all know how much I love painting skin tone. But other videos, I'm probably going to have to be painting a lot of skin tone. I can see that happening. So I'm going to have to just, as they say, suck it up, buttercup, and just do it. Because I got no other choice but to just do it, because I don't have anybody else to do it for me. And even if I did, I'm not going to learn that way. This is the only way I'm going to learn, is by doing it myself. And that is it. So I'm just trying to painting all of the face plate. You can see there. A little spot here I missed. And on the other side, I'm going around. He has some chainmail kind of stuff underneath here, so I'm not going to paint that with the gold. So I think I got all the gold that I need looking at this. I can see there's a little spot that I missed though. See right there. So I just got to make sure I get that. That's not too bad. Now this part that's down here is supposed to be part of his straps. So I'm going to have to re-go over that. Like I said, there's some parts I wasn't sure about. I left it, but now I do know, so I'm going to have to paint that part brown. And after that, we're going to do the lead belcher, and I'll be back so that we can do that exact thing. I fixed up for the brown part for the strap. I finished painting everything else, and I also, what I did off camera is I painted his blanket a Lorne Forest green. So that's from Citadel 2 as well. And we're going to jump on the lead belcher now to paint all of his chainmail and anywhere else that there would be metal onto it. So lead belcher is just another form of silver, but it's kind of like more of a dirtier silver, if that makes sense. So I am painting his underpart right here because he's wearing chainmail underneath, and you can kind of see it hanging down I should say, and even peeking through the corner there. So we're just very gently and carefully going and painting all of the chainmail first, as careful as possible, and keeping on camera. That actually would work really good if I can keep it on camera. Like that. I get quiet when I'm painting all the little details because I'm scared if I'm talking, it's going to mess things up more. And I'd prefer not to have things messed up more. Just saying. And I'm only putting a little tiny bit of paint on my brush. I mean like a super fine, small little detail onto it. So you can see his chainmail from underneath. You can see a little bit of the red has bled through a bit there. So I'm going to fix that right now. Just like that. So that's part of his chainmail. So I'm going to continue on with this. And where else I'm continuing on is his helmet, the rim of his helmet and everything. He does have like a metal ring that goes around it to keep it shape and also to add a little bit more protection. So let's do that, shall we? Hopefully on camera, hopefully in focus. That part's pretty straightforward, I guess. Then you're like, oh, look, there's a part that I missed right here. And the top part, obviously, he has his, on camera, come on. He has his band too as well. That's his part of his helmet done too. You can see like the little edging here, they're showing some skin tone through. The wash is going to cover a lot of that stuff up too as well. I don't want to start kind of getting into all the little crevices at the moment because I could be doing more work than what I need to. And then I'm just going to paint his axe blades. And I'm again using the lead belcher because I want his axes to look like not as clean as what a sword would be, because he's been slamming this into everything because they're meant for, well, axes are meant for doing many things, same as swords, but I think axes are kind of like more brutality than what a sword would be, in my opinion. You know, if you want to make an impression on somebody and, you know, instead of just chopping them up or cutting them or killing them with the sword, just hacking them up with an axe, that's, you know, you're definitely going to be leaving some kind of impression onto them. Oh. Yeah, just painting this so that I don't, probably not on camera. There we go. There. It's better. So that's his axis. Let me ask you a question. I've probably heard that so many times. I'm just inspecting to see if there's anywhere else that I need to put the lead belcher at, and there is, because in between his armor and his leather bands and that, he does have some chainmail that is showing through, so we do have to paint that too as well, because chainmail does stretch over his arms, you know, because it is an undersuit more or less that protects him from harm, or at least tries to protect him. And we all know he's a pretty vicious fighter. If you've seen the movies, he knows how to fight. He's really strong. He's really agile for a dwarf. And he likes his grog. Oh, he loves his grog. So it's done. I got that all done. Oh, missed a spot like right here. There we go. And also too as well, a part that we have to paint with the lead belcher is he has like this part right here that protects the back of his head. It kind of continues over. It's another type of armor, but you know, it's like chainmail, I guess. So we're just going to paint that up too as well. The lead belcher help protecting his head, because it's kind of important to protect your head. and your neck and your body and just every part, so that you're not going to get whacked and killed, because that's just bad. You wouldn't be in the story anymore. But you can see that's pretty much it for the lead belcher that I can see. Oh, actually, just a little edging right here. And I think that's all the lead belcher. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So after this is done, I'm gonna paint his beard. Now as well, he has kind of like a light brown to reddish tinge to it, so I might just stick with like a light brown and paint that to make it a little simpler. I'll find the color and I'll be back. For his beard, I was going to mix a little bit of red with brown and so forth, but I want to keep this as simple as possible. So I'm using Mornfang brown. I'm just going to paint his beard that color. I may use like maybe a reddish wash or something towards them lines to bring it out. We'll see, but right now I'm okay with just painting with the Mornfang brown. Bring that out. Because it is a little bit of a different color than the leather brown that I've used. Just want to make sure I don't cover up his nose, because he don't have a brown nose. He's not a brown noser. Gimli's far from a brown noser. He tells you like it is, and if you don't like it, then, you know, that's tough luck for you. So that is his face, like his beard part. Actually, gotta bring this up just a little bit more. And I'm gonna flip it over and get his hair too as well. Part of his ponytail. There we go. All right. So that is Gimli done for that part. You think you'd see a little bit of his beard just right here showing through. Above the face part. Not even on camera. There. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Abaddon Black, and I'm going to try to trace the rim around the bottom part of his jacket that's accenting it. It shows that it's black. I hope I don't make a big mess of it, but I'll be back after that and I'll show you. And also I'm going to paint the base of Drawstone Gray like I use for every one of them. And then I'll be back after that's dry and we're going to apply the washes. With all of the base colors painted onto it, even the base you can see there that I painted, it's on to doing the washes, and there's no real any different steps than when I was painting the other ones. And you know, the skin I'm using Reckland Flesh shade, and then for the rest of it I am using just Agrax Earth shade, and then Nuln Oil for the base. And that's pretty much it. It's going to be pretty simple to get this all done. You can see he's wearing gloves, so he don't have any other skin tone showing through except for his little bit on his face here. I'm just going to clean a little bit of that shade off just to a little more dimension there. Just dab it here with my finger. Why not? All right. So now this is just some Agrax Earth Shade and then no oil. And then that'll be it for the shade, and then we'll come back for the highlights. You can see all the wash is dry now, the shade. Some people call it shade, some people call it wash. In either case, it's all dry. And I can stop right here because I'm happy with him the way he is, even like I didn't put any highlights onto him. But because it's painting along with me, I'm going to continue on. I'm going to add some more highlights. Just very minimal though. So for the red I'm going to start off with, I'm going to just go over it again with Evil Son Scarlet. And then, you know, like, we're just going to go on from there. And it's pretty simple for doing the highlights, that I think, anyhow. Because all I'm doing is I'm taking the same color as the base. And just very little bit on the brush. I'm just going to go over, like, any of the wrinkles that he has, just to bring them out again. So you can see, like, right here. Again, I have very minimal paint on here. I'm just going over some spots here just to kind of pop it up a bit. I may just end up putting on some other color too, like dry brushing some white onto it, or long beard gray, I think it's called. I've used before in the past. Yeah, long beard gray. I may just do that to it as well. And I'm just painting on the highlighting, and then I'm kind of rubbing it off with my fingers. Not rubbing it off, but kind of dabbing it just to mute the colors a little bit in some spots. Nothing too drastic here. So again, just very, very slight that I'm adding to it. I'm not doing like everything, I'm just kind of selectively putting some on here and there. Just to help bring this out a little bit more. Let's make it pop ever so slightly. And same with right here, like just a little bit on the side. And his hands. Same with his fingers here too as well. Just a tiny bit. Turn him around. I'm going to add the red highlight here too. And the amount that I'm putting on here is not a whole lot. And then I'm also muting it, or toning it down or muting it down, whatever way you want to call it, by just kind of taking the excess off with my fingers. So that's about it for the red highlight. And then we're going to go on to the, let's highlight his, what else can I highlight? Let's go over and highlight the green right here. And I'm going to highlight that with Warboss Green. And then after that, I think I might just do like a light dry brush of the Longbeard Gray. For the green, I'm highlighting it with Warboss Green. It's a little lighter, a brighter color. Nothing like jumping in your face, too overpowering. But it is going to be able to, you're going to be able to notice just slightly a little bit where I add it. You can see there. Kind of thinking, you know, where the light would hit this to bring it out, instead of using object source lighting, where I'm thinking the light is just pointing directly at the miniature and it's kind of bumping out some stuff there. So that's all the green I'm going to do there. And I'm thinking the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the brown. Actually, I was going to do some brown onto it, but I think the rest of the highlight is going to be like with the Longbeard Gray, which I originally planned. So we're going to do that and see how that turns out. Longbeard Gray. You can see there, and it's a dry. And I just put it on my brush just slightly, and I'm slowly going over it. Well, not slowly, but like very little touching. You can see it is depositing some some of the gray. Do a lot onto his beard here. And I'm not doing like it's not jumping out in your face. And just very so subtle. You could use some lead belcher to highlight it even more and so on, but I'm just kind of just going on with this here just to make it a little faster instead of putting all these different colors for the highlights. Because again, I'm not trying to win an award here or anything. I just wanted to be painted so that when we're on camera on the playing it, it's not going to be like naked or painted badly. I don't think they're painted badly. I think they're painted okay, you know, good enough for my standards. Like I said, nothing huge. What I could do is, I think I might do is I might take some of the so actually I like a tarnish like that. I'm talking in rhyme. I was going to think about putting on some Balthazar gold over the gold parts again just to bring it out, but you know what, I'm kind of happy with the way this is looking, so I think I'm just gonna hold back onto the Balthazar gold. If you did any like intensive highlighting on anything, I would love to see it. So just send me an email, boardgamemaniacs@gmail.com, and just show me some pictures of the stuff that you highlighted, because I would love to see it. So that's it for that. And you know, the only thing left to do is I'm going to take the draw stone. Actually, no, that's not what I use. My bad. I'm going to take the Longbeard Gray, which I have out already, and I'm going to highlight the base. And the way I'm going to highlight the base with it, again, is just some dry brush. Nothing too big or drastic or anything like that. So you just take it and just gently brush it on. So it's going to pop out like all of the texture and details that you can see. Just like that. Nothing too drastic going on. And there we go. That is Gimli. Now, the only other thing left to do is just paint the base. And I'm just going to paint them with Abaddon Black. Now, I did the hobbits with a leather brown. Gimli, I'm going to do black. He's into this underneath. He's supposed to be in the mines and everything, and where dwarfs live and they come up. So I'm just going to paint his rim black with Abaddon Black. And here we go. I'm just grabbing a paintbrush. Pretty much any paintbrush. I'm using just a Citadel base. It's maybe a 5, I guess. I don't know. But it's this one right here. So I got him here, and I'm just going to, like I said, I'm painting him with Abaddon Black. What I like to do if I'm playing with other people that have like same miniatures, now I kind of tend to paint the bases not just black, but you know, a different color to be distinguished, so that if they're on the table and there's lots of them, like 40K or bolt action or what have you, I'll paint the bases something completely different so that I know right away, just from looking on the table, that they're my miniatures. And there we go with the Abaddon Black. You can throw 2 coats onto this if you want. You can tell that I'm painting it on without diluting any of it, because I don't need to. It's just going to be the trim of it, just to clean it up a little bit, to make it look a little fancier instead of being so plain Jane. No offense, all the Janes out there. So there we go. And that is it for Gimli. Very, very easy paint job. Hope you enjoyed this painting along with me video into the series for the Games Workshop month for Board Game Maniacs. Next, I'm thinking I'm going to be painting Gandalf the Grey into the series. So if you haven't watched any of the other painting along with me into this month for painting all of the 4 hobbits, go back and watch them, and I hope you enjoy them. And if you like this one and you want to see more, don't forget to click on the subscribe and the bell notification icon to get notified when other videos such as this come up onto our YouTube channel. And if you want to become an official sponsor of Board Game Maniacs, just go to Patreon and look up Board Game Maniacs, and you can donate a $2 a month nominal fee to help keep the lights on, get more paints in, more miniatures, more games, or even a one-time fee of $2 or more, or whatever you want to help support, or even just watching and commenting onto these videos is good too as well, because I appreciate all of that. So thank you very much. And until next time, Board Game Maniacs, be a maniac.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to keep up to date with Board Game Maniacs, click on the like and subscribe button to be notified when more videos come available. If you want to become an official sponsor of Board Game Maniacs, go to patreon.com/BoardGameManiacs. Or you can go to streamlabs.com/BoardGameManiacs1. That's right, and you can donate to help keep the lights on, keep food in our bellies, and play more games. We'll purchase more games, more equipment to make Board Game Maniacs evolve and get bigger and larger. Because of you, the viewers, I thank you from the bottom of my toes to the top of my head for all of your support. And until next time, Board Game Maniacs, be a maniac.